Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Renee. For those of you that are new here, I really hope that this new method of I didn't even know this was a microphone. I always wondered why people use these in their videos, and now I get it because it makes the audio a little bit better. So I hope the audio is better because I know in some of my videos they're not. So today's video is going to be about how it's going to definitely speak to anybody who has anxiety and who struggles with anxiety, because I feel like the source of anxiety a lot of the time is worrying about the future. Like that's basically what anxiety comes down to. Or, you know, thinking a lot about the past. Like anxiety is either you overly thinking about the past or overly thinking about the future. It's anything but the present moment most of the time. So this video is going to speak to anybody who's experiencing anxiety right now, who has experienced anxiety, or in the future might experience anxiety. So this is pretty relevant, I would say. Maybe I'm biased, but yeah. So the reason that I'm thinking about this is because I was out to dinner with my girlfriend the other day, and she kept saying this term, and I've never really heard it, but I know what it meant. And she was like, you guys are both just," I was venting to her about a boy, obviously. I'm just a girl. I'm just a girl. So she was like, "You guys are both just future tripping." Like, no, 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 no. She kept saying, "Future tripping, future tripping. You're just future tripping." And I feel like this is another way of saying that you're just thinking about the future too much, and you're making all kinds of scenarios that aren't there yet because you're overly fixated on what might happen in the future but isn't happening right now. So that's definitely something that takes you out of the present moment. And that's what I'm going to be talking about today. But before we get into this video, I do want to say that on February 1st, I will be launching my first program, Empress of ESTEEM. It's basically a digital course where I'm going to, well, it's actually a live training about how to raise your self-esteem. And I'm going to give you my step-by-step process on how to raise your self-esteem. And I'm also going to give you just more of like a backstory on like my background and how I learned these really like hard lessons that life had to teach me, but that I wouldn't, no regrets, because I feel like I learned things that are just like so valuable. So it's basically a step-by-step guide on how to raise your self-esteem. I'm going to give you all kinds of mentality practices, journaling practices, and just the amount of value in this training is, I feel like there's not really a price on it, because these are the things that I can attribute to having changed my life and having brought me out of like a really dark place, basically. So Empress of Esteem, if you want to learn more about that program, the link is in my description. And if you want to work with me privately for mentality coaching, accountability practices, then definitely look at my Calendly. That link is also in my description now. I also just made an Instagram for this account, and also like it's like an account. It's a new account basically. Dream Styling NYC. That's my new Instagram account. Follow me on there if you want to see more content like this. Okay, what was I saying? Yeah, so basically, future tripping, right? The reason that I think this is really relevant is because, and it's also like I was on TikTok, and you know how sometimes you get those like on your For You page, like those tarot readings about like your SP, and like this is what's gonna happen between the person that you like and you. Are they gonna call you? Are they gonna text you? Like, even like tarot readings. And all of this stuff is basically centered around the fact that, just, I think it's a part of the human experience. We're just wanting to know the future. Like, we're so fixated on wanting to know the future. And the fact that we don't, and the fact that we don't have absolute control over what might happen, or we don't know what might happen, this trips us up. And, it becomes this huge energy it becomes this huge thing that we're putting our energy into, is basically wanting to figure out what the future holds and what the future is going to look like. And this can be a source of anxiety for a lot of people. And rightfully so. Like, I can see that happens to me too. But I think a better way of approaching those moments, that we are future tripping, that our mind and our energy is too projected into the future and not in the present moment. A better use of our energy and our time, and a more expansive way of thinking, is to start looking at it as like knowing the future would make life boring. Like, I heard the other day that the key to comedy and something that like comics know about a good joke is that there's an element of surprise. So basically, an element of surprise is what makes a joke funny because you don't see it coming. It just catches you off guard. And, that's kind of the whole theory, the whole concept behind like slapstick humor too. If you guys have seen that movie, Babylon, a lot of it was like slapstick comedy and, satire. And the element of surprise is what keeps your attention. And, that can be applied to life as well because if we knew the future, if we knew how every single thing was going to play out, if we knew how we're going to meet our future spouse, if we knew how we're going to, like, we have goals, right? And if you're really dedicated, the likelihood that you're going to achieve that goal is high, okay? Like, it doesn't mean that you're going to do it tomorrow or it's going to come true tomorrow, but the likelihood that over time you can achieve that goal is very high. And how boring would it be if we knew the play by play of how everything was going to happen? Like, I think if you just like elevate your thinking a little bit, you would see that that would make your life so boring and predictable. And it would take away from the quality of your life more than it would add. Like, we think that knowing everything that's going to happen and having control over our future is what's going to give us less anxiety and it's going to make us feel better because we're going to know. We're going to know what will happen so that we can be better prepared, right? But that's not necessarily true, and it's not necessarily going to make your life better if you were to know everything. So it's just kind of like a reframing of something that becomes a source of anxiety for all of us is thinking about the future. But, the element of surprise and not knowing exactly what's going to happen and being open to possibilities and potentials is what makes life fun. It's kind of like what makes life interesting. Like, we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. That's Bad Bunny's album, like, no one knows what will happen tomorrow. Nobody knows what's going to happen tomorrow. We don't have to know the future to like be happy right now. We don't have to know what's going to happen exactly play by play. We can have a general idea of what we want and we can try to like go for those things, but like, we don't need to know everything. It's okay to not know. Like, that's normal. It's more normal and it's more fun to not know everything that's going to happen. So let's like kind of just take a chill pill and release like the anxiety we have over not having like absolute like control over what might happen in the future and not knowing, and find ways to enjoy that feeling of not knowing because like it's cool to not know too. It's nice to be surprised. It's nice to stay open to new things. The things that you want today, who knows if you're going to want that tomorrow? Who knows the person that you're going to be a year from now and what that person's going to want, So you don't necessarily have to know the future, and you don't have to get so fixated and focused on the future right now. Like, can you just enjoy where you are right now? Can you like use your imagination, and instead of really really wanting one thing really badly, can you see how different things might play out? Like, you just have to like challenge yourself to be more open-minded, to release the anxiety of not knowing exactly how your future is gonna play out because you just don't know. Like, it's okay, we're human beings, we don't have to know everything. Like, future tripping is what inspired this whole line of thought. So let's stop future tripping and let's just start tripping. No, but let's like just enjoy a little bit more where we are right now. And I know you guys know that there's times where you're thinking about the past, or you have like a nostalgic moment for something that you had in the past, And it's like in that moment in the past, you were wishing to be somewhere else. But now that you're somewhere else, you can see the beauty in that moment in the past. Like that's kind of where nostalgia comes from. And it's like if we're always just like wanting to be at the next place, or we want the next thing and we just want to be there like right now, then we're taking away from, like, our life is just comprised of like the present moment every single day. That's really all that we have. So if we're always wanting to be somewhere else, and we're always like projecting our energy and our thought and our focus into the future, we're taking away from the quality of our life right now. And right now is all we have, and right now is kind of where things develop, you know? So it's really like it's the present moment, like, the power of now, Eckhart Tolle. It's so simple, but it's just so deep. And let's just not overly concern ourselves with the future. Let's, like, there's a healthy like barometer of how much energy we should be placing into trying to plan the future. But I feel like the majority of our energy and our focus should be on what we can do right now, what is actually happening right now, where our life is right now, what we are grateful for right now, like that's a really powerful concept. So we should, limit our future tripping and get to like understand that, we don't necessarily need all of the answers. Okay. Like it's kind of nice not having them all. And yeah, like it's okay, like to come to terms with the fact that we don't know everything. And uncertainty isn't necessarily a bad thing, because even when you think you know everything that's going to happen, you don't. Like, you don't have that power, unfortunately. Like, so finding ways to be more comfortable with the fact that there's always going to be some kind of level of uncertainty. Yeah, at some moments there might be more than others, can give you more of a handle on your anxiety, and is just a better way to approach like your mentality, you know? So hope you enjoyed this video. Empress of Esteem is enrolling now, and we're launching on February 1st. The price will be going up, so now is definitely the time to sign up. I hope to see you there. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Subscribe. Thank you so much for 900. I really appreciate it. Follow my new Instagram account, DreamStylingNYC, on Instagram.